morning. So this will be a deviation from my last couple recordings, but it'll be an interesting one. So in perfect clockwork with what will typically happen with a narcissist or possibly psychopathic personality type, from everything I've read and I've mentioned before that it's so invaluable to absolutely go and research and read about these people because they really operate like machines. You can almost tell their playbook as soon as you understand it and you know what they're about. You pretty much know like what's coming next and what, to some degree. There can be an element of danger because they are so unpredictable, but they're almost predictably unpredictable, which sounds crazy. But it's really like there are certain things that you can definitely expect, and then there's other things that you probably couldn't in a million years expect, and why they say it's so important to try and do no contact. So I think, sharing my own experiences, and I've kind of just allowed this to play out because what I wanted to see was my reactions to everything. So, as typical, and I can't tell you why this shift happened, but my ex is now split up with his newest plaything, and I don't know, I don't really know why. I don't particularly care, but I don't really know why. It would be cool and interesting to hear the other stories because the stories they come up with are amazing. Honestly, they should be novelists because they're so engaged in their lives and they so believe what they're telling you, and they're just so engaged and they're so believable until you start to see through it, and then you realize that there's a thing they say that you can believe, which makes it a really interesting experience being around them because you really feel like most of the time you feel like you're just having your time wasted. And it really was interesting because it comes back with the start of, oh well, some big story, this person wanted to drive a wedge between us and da 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 da, which is kind of the concept. And I was thinking, interesting, I wonder how this other half of this conversation went. And so I'm just openly listening, but I'm not taking any of this in, so I'm still in observe mode most of the time, and I'm just letting him do what he does. I'm just letting him play this out, and it's and he goes to give me a kiss, and I just whatever. I could care less. I don't have any feelings for this person. I know this person isn't even a person, and they're like an alien almost, and they have a new agenda, whatever that agenda. Their agenda's changed, so it's something new, and hell if I know what it is. But anyway, so he's trying to tell me, oh, I care, and whatever. So I'm listening to this, and it tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. And if you analyze how you're feeling, you realize that it's not the person a lot of the time. I think this is where the people that bring these people back, I think this is where they get duped in some sense. Is they want someone to care. They want someone that's going to say these things, and they want somebody that's going to be there for them. They want these things. And if you're a parent with a person, it makes it even worse because you want the family setup. You want things to be, quote unquote normal. You want those people to be part of this partnership. It's difficult, and it's not that they have anything to offer you, because at this stage where I'm at, I know this person doesn't have anything, relatively nothing to offer me, and occasionally will help me with something around the house or whatever. But really, you know, in one of those fallback tests where they catch you, they will never catch you. Ever catch you. Not ever. And if you're that guy that keeps throwing yourself backwards, or girl, throwing yourself backwards into the arms of this void, you know, it's amazing to me just how many injuries we sustain because they're so perpetually believable. Oh my gosh, I said all these things. But there's nothing there to back it up. And so when I started saying, you know, I think where they get us, it's not that we necessarily want that with them. It's that we want something like that. And, you know, that's where it gets to be frustrating because you're like, I really want this. I just don't want this with them because I know I can't have it with them. And it's very difficult, you know, and if you really are engaged in the story, and I'm going to say the story, if you're engaged in the story of how they fell from grace, if you're engaged in the story of their perpetual drama and the horrible things they've been through, not to say they haven't, but if you're engaged in that story, you're going to continue to throw yourself down and allow yourself to be their bridge to you know, to nowhere, because you just keep throwing yourself down, and really you know, I used to describe my ex as a maelstrom. He was this walking chaos. He was like a hurricane, you know, just everywhere he went, you know, like in some ways it's beautiful, and in other ways it's terrifying. You know, it's amazing to watch the force of it, but it's terrifying to be in the middle of it, and that's really how it feels. But what keeps people coming back, it's this belief that, hey, this is, you know, I want this. So what I encourage people to do, I think, after going through this little entertaining spiel and you know, sequences of events, is just to really keep yourself connected to yourself. You have to say to yourself, okay, what, you know, if you've been separate for a little bit, because they like to bounce back to you, you know, what things are you not going to part with? I mean, you have to draw some lines in the sand here and say, these things are who I am now. These things are things that I actually enjoy and I've reestablished in my life, and I'm not going to give those up for you. So, you know, it was one of the first things he tried to do is make me feel bad because I have things that I've been doing, you know, to keep myself going and to rise above. And I just looked him straight in the eye and I said, this is who I am, and you can take it or leave it, and I don't really care what you think, you know. You're not going to make me feel bad for doing these things that matter to me, and that's that. And, you know, just the recoil of that, like, wow, I can't control her anymore, you know. And I mean, this is still, you know, we're still in this situation where, you know, he lives somewhere else and comes to see the kids, and, you know, was trying to petition for me to, like, give this another shot. Now, if you asked him that, he'd probably say that never happened because he does that kind of freaky shit. But, you know, I guarantee it did. And so where we're at now, it's just like, I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. And then we went back into the attacking, you know, this weird feud thing that goes on between him and my mom. And, you know, it was like a full day of drama. And, you know, of these two just going at it. And it was silent. It was like, one is passive aggressive and the other one is not, you know. So one is like raging mad and the other one's totally avoidant, and it's totally clear, you know. And neither of them, they're both terrible, honestly. They're both such a mess. Not trying to, you know, be mean to them, but you know, they both have stuff that they just can't change it. I'm almost to the point where I think they're both like that. Maybe at different sides of the spectrums here, but I really think they might both be like that. I feel like I'm almost surrounded, you know, sometimes. But it's intriguing to me because, like, so these two are putting on this big show. Like, he's coming back, he's trying to do nice things. I'm trying to encourage the nice behavior, but I know better, you know. And on the flip side, she's mad because she wants control, and so she's lashing out at him, and she wants him gone, and she wants, me here, and me doing, me falling for her nonsense too. So really, it's what I ended up with. I think what I have is two, not just one. So it's interesting. That was an eye-opener. But really, what I did is, listening to him go off, I just sat there and observed it. And I didn't engage at all, which is, I think, what was the goal there, was to get me fired up and to turn all my rage at her. And, I've watched that too many times, so now that was interesting. So I was able to kind of sit back and just observe that, and just, I'm not falling for this, This is a good effort on your part, but I'm not falling for it. But so what we're really looking for there, I think, and the reason that they're able to hook people back in, is because people do want that dream. People do want that ability to love, and put a lot of investment into these people. But you have to realize, it's like, would you keep putting money into a company that you absolutely know isn't going to succeed? Would you keep taking funds? Would you keep taking loans out? Would you keep pulling money out of everything? Would you keep liquidating all your stuff to sink more money into something you absolutely know has no chance of a payout ever? Because that's what you're doing for an illusion. Because what they're selling you is an illusion. They're not selling you the real thing. They're selling you the illusion. So I would encourage you to say, what is it about this that I really like? What is it about this that I really want? It's like, I want someone that's going to cuddle with me. I want somebody that's going to hang out with me. I want somebody that's going to go do stuff with me. What about this do I not like? What would I rather have it different? So it's kind of a cool opportunity when they play this little game, for you to just kind of pick out the pieces, like, what kinds of parts of this do I like? What do I like? What do I not like? But you have to realize that that investment into this particular person is never going to pay off. So you can take those things and learn those components from their little go back events, and pull all those little pieces out and say, these are really cool, and this is really neat, and this is the kind of stuff I'd like. But for the most part, I'm absolutely sure that to try and make that happen with this person is not even possible. And they try to create the illusion, but if you just stick to your observing and you don't engage and you don't let them think they're actually fooling you, if you can stay almost emotionless, where they can't read you, you'll see that they'll instantly go right back to what they were doing before, which is the exact same yucky crap that they were doing before. And I watched this. I had a friend of mine who had the same situation. She's like, oh, it got better for a while. And I said, wait for the other shoe to drop. So just keep observing. I'm not saying to get discouraging or be mean to the person, or don't, it's great. There's a chance they don't fall into this equation. Maybe they're misunderstood. That's fine. Stay open to the idea that maybe they can evolve, maybe they can change, maybe they just haven't learned these things, or maybe they're just bad at it, So stay open. I'm not saying to crush them when they try to do the good things that they're trying to do, but you also need to stay open, because if they really are one of these types of personality, low empathy people, they will. The other shoe will drop. It's just really a matter of time. They only need to keep you fooled for a little while. I was jokingly talking to my friend. I said, it's almost like they have this fishing lure and a seal club. And what they do is they reel you back in with all these niceness, and then they seal club you. And then you escape, and then they reel you back in, and then they seal club you. Because that's the kind of people they are. They're like those people that go out and club baby seals. That's the kind of people they are. They have absolutely not one care about you. They just need what they need, which is attention. And if you're not giving it to them, they will just go find it somewhere else. And guarantee that at some point in your relationship, you're going to have a window where you just don't have that kind of energy or capacity to give them attention. And what are they going to do? They're going to go out and find it somewhere else, because they're attention vampires. They absolutely have to have it. and they almost get enjoyment out of causing you pain. It keeps them afloat. They must step on you to get to air. They absolutely have to do that. So that's just how they roll. So anyway, it was really interesting. I just kind of rolled with it. I just wanted to see where it went, and it was entertaining. To see how well, unfortunately, I'm kind of mixed about it, but my capacity to play that game back is disturbing to me. Because in some ways we can become like them. I had this discussion with a friend of mine, and basically we ultimately decided, like, you can game them back, but you got to draw the line there, because you don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole where you're applying that to other people in your life. You can't lose that component in yourself that's beautiful and connected and cares. But at some point, you have to fight some fire with fire. And as much as I want to say it's all about love and compassion and empathy, and with these people, they can't receive it, and they don't appreciate it, and they actually will in fact use it against you. So it's really not the way to go. It's like one of those weird scenarios where it's like this one group that just doesn't apply. It's this exception to the rule, where most things you can put compassion, love, and empathy. And I'm not saying you can't, feel sad for them that they're like this, but you catering to them, that's not going to fix anything, really. You catering to this, they're just going to turn around and use it against you, like a SEAL club, really, because they really do. They use your own powers against you. They use your power of caring against you. They use your power of empathy against you. They use your power of, low self-esteem against you. That's the whole concept. That's what they do. They use it against you. So I want to basically look them straight in the eye and say, you're not in love with me. I'm not stupid. And it was just shock, how did you see that? And then he disappears for 2 days, which is great, because I'm like, yes, awesome, freedom, because it's so much chaos, and the vibration these guys put out, it's so bad, and it's so impossible when you have kids. It's so hard, because the kids don't see it. I mean, sometimes they kind of do, but for them, they're just like, hey, cool, my dad's around. And later on, they're going to connect all these dots. In some ways, they've already connected the dots, and I'm happy to facilitate them being healthy in the middle of all that. But for now, it's like, hey, this is who this person is. You can't change them. You can't make it different. It's not normal. I think it's really important to let kids know this is not normal. This really isn't the rule. This is not how humans behave, or how humans should behave to one another. Explaining to them how it ought to be, and explaining that that's what happens when people get really hurt and damaged and injured when they're little. I think it's helpful for them to understand, at bare minimum, and this is just my opinion, at bare minimum, letting them understand the truth, without necessarily slamming the other parent, but just saying, this person can't feel like we feel, and that doesn't make them less than us. It just means that, it's not the way we should be, and really encourage that empathy and really encourage that. But you also want to encourage them to set healthier boundaries, because you don't want them to then be attracted to that kind of person in a relationship either, which really is about trying to build up their self-esteem and their self-worth, and letting them know, which is hard to do when they have a parent that basically neglects the crap out of them, because when their parents are around, their self-worth is largely tied to their parents, and good luck explaining that one. Good luck explaining why you're so unimportant to your parent that they can't make time for you, or every holiday they ditch you, or that's how that goes. So it's really hard to explain to the kids, so then we're sitting there with, the clearing process, and, trying to set power levels and all the stuff that we've been doing, and then, working on finding the things in them that they value and appreciate, and what things they'd like to improve on, and, it's gonna take a lot more work for the parent that is in this mess. And I gotta say that as a parent, if you were married to a person like this, you have to get your stuff together quick, because if you don't rise above it, your kids are going to take harm, because they're going to have harm anyway, and they're going to have harm going on the whole time, and they're going to have harm going on continuously, especially if this person's still around. You absolutely got to get your stuff together. You have to rise above it. You've got to become impervious to their nonsense as much as possible, because you gotta then teach your kids how, and that is really important. But is really, like I said early on, where they get us, where they lure us back, where they trick us, is really because we want that dream, and we have to realize what's real from not. I talked about it before, of what really truly is, and what really truly is that this person isn't capable of ever being that. So you can absolutely define what it is that you want from watching them. You can observe it, you can appreciate it, and all this good stuff. But you need to, and make a note of it. Hey, this is the kind of stuff this person does do that, that makes me happy. But, to believe that you can have that with them, you have got to just keep talking to yourself when that's going on and say, not this guy, not this person. This is what I want, yes, but not with this person, not ever. It can't be. It's sad, it's tragic. It would have been awesome if this person wasn't so broken. Or maybe they were just born like this, but in all reality, not with this person. It can't be done. So, welcome those dreams. They're not crushed, they're not gone just because it's not with this person, and that doesn't make these dreams crushed or gone. You just have to open the door up to that still being your dream, but in a totally different scenario with someone else, or just get up on your own 2 feet and make your dreams possible, without any of that, or at least for a time, But yeah, that observing tool, just to really step back. There's 2 components. My friend and I go through this a lot. Usually once a week, we sit down and do all this research. And there's 2 things, and his stance is it's all about awareness. And I said, nope, it's all about awareness and fixing yourself. It's got to be both. And we kind of go back and forth, and he knows I'm right, and I know he's right, and it's true. You've got to have both. You got to have both, because you can be fully aware, but if you still have all these holes in you, they still have a way in. So you've got to be aware, and then use that awareness to A, know what the hell they're up to, and B, use that to turn around and clear all these, all these windows of opportunity that they have, and take it and clear it. It's hard. I am not gonna joke with you. It is absolutely hard when that person's gonna come running back into your life and say, I screwed up, blah blah blah, whatever, spiel. And I want to make this work, and I really care, and they're gonna it's gonna sound amazing. It's gonna be like everything you want to hear, and then that's where you got to pull yourself back and say, this person is not capable. For this X many of years has never been able to succeed in this. There's almost zero chance this person's going to be able to now. Give them this opportunity, allow them to try and show me that they can be different, but you're going to just sit back and observe it. You're not going to fall for their lies. You're not going to fall into this category of 100% belief anymore. You're just going to observe it, and guarantee you that shoe drops, and once again they're right back to the same old crap. And that's all it took. This was like 2 weeks maybe tops for the same old crap to roll back in. It really didn't even take that long, honestly. Maybe a week. It's just lie after lie after lie. It's like, really, you think to yourself, if I had $1 for every time this person lied to me, I would be living in a mansion right now. But it's entertaining, as long as you're not buying into it. The more you see it, actually, really, if anything, being in that observant state, you're actually going to have a much better chance of becoming even stronger from them trying to do that. You know, and they'll push their way in, and they'll try and, they come back in like they have some right to. And that's the best part. You're just like, yeah, no. Yeah, but you got to be smart. And you also have to be careful, because if you're engaging them or you're calling them on their lies, that is something that you could be putting yourself in threat and danger. I really wouldn't go that road. You don't even need to, because it's not about proving them wrong. If you're in that state, you still got stuff to work on, because if you need to prove them wrong, then you're looking for some kind of validation, and that's something that you can most definitely get clear in yourself, because it's not about being right or wrong. At that point, you already know. It's just about observing so that you can, better understand what it is you're up against. So that's where that's at. And I really just think, the more you can sit back and watch and see what's going on, and watch and see their behavior and not buy into it. It's okay if they think you're buying into it, fine. Let them think that. Let them believe that you're buying into it. Because honestly, the more you let them think you're buying into it, the quicker that other shoe's going to drop, by the way. The faster they're going to go right back to their old ways the minute they think that they've got you looped in and duped. Again, so, yeah, I mean, play their little game and roll into it. But just the whole time, be smart and observe and just watch what happens. I think you're going to be kind of blown away. But you're going to find that there's going to be some sadness. And that's the part that, I really wanted to point in, hone in on, because that sadness, we just got to really disconnect that sadness has to do with this person. It doesn't have to do with that person. It's something inside of you that you really want, or you really connect with, or that that's the part that you miss. And it's okay to miss it. It's okay to feel sad, because that's totally normal. But don't think that's not something that you can still have. You can have it, but you can't have it with this person. And that you got to really get it clear in your head that that's not something you can do with this person. But what this person is doing is shining a nice, beautiful, big light on that for you, so that you know what it is you really want. How is it that this person can fool you and tell you that, hey, this is what you want, and if it's something that you absolutely can never have, then, like, for me, would it be, being able to have that family with a dad and a mom, that's long past for me, but maybe I need to go back and do a little more clearing on that. Maybe I need to go do a little more digging and find out what part of me needs to let that go, because that's over, and it's not something I can ever have back. So I might as well just let it be, let it go, make peace with it. It's something I may need to still make peace with. Because, obviously I came out just fine, despite the crazy that I was surrounded in. So I don't necessarily think that it's always your parents and surroundings that makes you who you are. I think you come here with after having my kids, I believe that you come here with a definite set of personality traits from the very, very beginning. And you have that inner strength. You can either, under extreme circumstances, you can be crushed. Sure, absolutely. I'm not saying you can't, but I also think that there's a lot of people that have been in some amazingly tough situations and have still risen above and shown what they were really made of. And that's not something that they necessarily learned at home either. So, these people that are in these states, how bad they really had it, etc., etc. There's people out there that had it bad like that, if not worse, and they rose above it. So this was in some ways, this is a choice that these people have made to end up in this boat. We're not, I shouldn't say it like that. That sounds wrong. They've chosen how they're viewing it, I guess. They've elected to, see it in this way. At the trauma state, part of it, then you have the other aspect of head injuries and other stuff, and that's stuff that they didn't have any power over. They have some power over how they see it, and other people have had actual physical damage. In some cases, the brains aren't even fully developed, and they just can't. Some people have, damage to the areas of the brain that will cause them to be extremely dangerous. So, or underdeveloped or whatnot. But I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to pretend to be. But, you know, you can just go and research this stuff. It's there. It's all over the place. But all the same, you know, at that point, really, you're really just trying to make sense of this for yourself, because you can't fix the other person. You just need to do what's right for you. And your job is not to make their lives better. That's another challenge that I run into with people. They really think that somehow they're responsible for these people. They're not. You're not responsible for these people. And being responsible for them doesn't mean that you should sacrifice your own happiness. There's ways to still be present and be there for them without being injured on a constant basis. You can do that. It can be done. You know, but you just basically need to be aware of what you're dealing with for the most part. So anyway, I think that's pretty much just trying to share what went down in the last week or two. It's been, you know, high drama, low frequency energy, draining, you know, even from where I'm at, you know, in all this, or as far along as I feel like I am, it still was really draining. One of the biggest benefits is having somebody that is a friend of yours, or a group or a community that you can lean on. You gotta find that, because if you're all alone in this, you're not going to have somewhere to go to a reprieve to run to when you need it, and you will need it. So please just find anything, find someone, find somebody that's strong, find anything that you can lean on when you need it, even if it's just an online community. It's going to be absolutely mandatory for you to get through this process, because you absolutely need to have somebody there for you on moments like this. Because if you look at where I'm at, I feel like I'm extremely strong in this mess that I've been in, and I'm handling it better than, I don't even know, I'm handling it really well, I feel like. So for me to be in that situation, I guarantee you the people that haven't done all that work and cleared all their stuff, they're going to be in real danger. So you absolutely really need to, and by danger I mean, I don't know, physical danger, but at least in the case of getting sucked back in, find a community, find a group, find an online resource, find a doctor, find a friend, find a group of, find a spiritual counselor. You know, I'm available. You absolutely can make it through it, but you've got to have somebody that you can reach out to when these types of things happen. But you also have to take responsibility for working on making it so that can't happen again. And that's really important. So, and that's where all that clearing comes in. And awareness is huge. I mean, the more research you can do to understand these personalities, the more you're going to be able to know kind of what their game plan is and what it is they're trying to do when they're talking to you. And I hope some of this helps, and talk to you later.